Welcome to the Real with Joseph Latman. I am Joseph Latman. Happy Thursday to you guys. Hope you guys are having a good day, a good week. Almost Friday, almost the weekend. Excited for tonight. Browns versus Steelers. Hoping the Browns bounce back at home, but we'll see. But today's show is on a much more serious topic. And today's show is kind of more of like a reaction type of video, I guess you could say. And it's going to be a reaction to my man Dennis Simpsek, the anxiety guy, who honestly, I've been listening to Dennis since 2018, and this latest video he put out yesterday, I think is, he even said himself, it's one of the biggest ones he's ever done. I think it's the best one I've ever heard, and I've heard all of them, and all of them are great. But this one instantly yesterday became, it's very powerful. This is a great video for anybody, wherever you are in your journey. And that's what makes it great, in my opinion, because it can apply to anybody. This video he made yesterday. And the video he made yesterday, the title of it, and I'll put it on the screen here, is How Health Anxiety... Hold on, let me switch this. How Health Anxiety Healing Happens. So this is how the healing process happens. And it's step by step, and he goes to 4 stages. So stage 1, as you'll see, will be the frantic stage, which is like where you're kind of really down in the dumps, where I've been there. You're trying to get out and trying to get something going in your life, and you want to turn around and start getting some confidence going, just some change. And then that'll lead you to stage 2, which would be, he'll explain, the exploration stage, which is, you're starting to do better, but now you're taking more steps. Now that'll lead you, and I'm trying to think what I want to say here. So because it's so good, I'm looking at there's 4 stages, and I'm reading all the notes I wrote down. It's just like, it's incredible, this video he made. So again, stage 1 is frantic, stage 2 is exploration, and exploration will go to stage 3, which is becoming. So when he explains, I think it's very key. When he explains stage 2 to 3, really pay attention there, because I feel like that's a big pivot point for a lot of people. I mean, each stage is a big pivot, but I feel like that 2 to 3, as he'll explain, from exploration to becoming, that's really like the meat and potatoes of the whole thing. And then after becoming, it's to arrival. You're living out who you want to be freely in all you do. And he's going to explain each stage, like I said. But the reason why I titled this video today is ask yourself this question, because he says this in the video as well. Really be honest with yourself, and really ask yourself, and like I said, really be honest, what stage are you in? And if you're in stage 1 or 2, that's okay. It doesn't matter what stage you're in. All that matters is that you're honest with yourself, and starting today, that's why it says starting today, right after that, start today. Start doing better for yourself. Really give it to you. You owe it to yourself more than anybody, not for anybody else. Do it for you. And so, I saw this video yesterday, and I was just gonna post it on my Instagram. Say, hey, and I said, no, this video is so good that I want to share it on here with you guys. There ain't everything else going on right now, anyway. So I said, this is this video is just so powerful. It's so key, and it's like it says right after in the title, no one will tell you this. And that's why this is so important, because this is the stuff you'll hear in this video today is probably, for a lot of you guys, maybe things you've never heard, like a different perspective that'll open your eyes, and maybe it'll help you realize, like it helped me, and his videos in the past helped me. A lot of what we think is in our society, especially in the Western world, like where we are in the U.S., a lot of how we heal and how we try to help people, I'm not knocking anybody, people mean well, but a lot of how we do it, we're really behind in a lot of ways. And it's the reason why a lot of people stay stuck in that cycle, constant cycle, and they never get out, or they never really believe in themselves deep down inside. They never take the leap of faith to do what they want to do, or do what they desire, the dreams and the goals. They allow those things to die away, and they just try to get by. Well, I'm not for trying to get by, and I don't think you guys should either. And so again, this video is still good. I'm just gonna get to the to the video. I might stop after each stage and key points in the video and kind of elaborate on a little bit how it kind of relates to me. So hopefully I can relate to you guys, as I know that helps. It helped me hearing other people relate to where I was and am. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to the video. And like I said, if you're not subscribed to the Anxiety Guide channel, go subscribe, because after you watch this video today, if you don't subscribe after this video today, you're really missing out, because this video, I just can't get enough. I mean, it's incredible. And so, but go subscribe to my man Dennis. Follow him on Instagram. He has a Facebook group. He has, if you're out there looking for a program to help guide you, a day-to-day program to help heal you through your anxiety, wherever you are. He has programs. He has books. He has a new book coming out, which he'll show in the beginning of the video. And like I said, this is all just me doing this. I'm not Dennis doesn't pay me to do anything, or I'm just somebody that's gone through, used his work, and I totally 1000% back his methods and his teachings, and how he goes about the healing, and because it's worked for me, and so that's why I'm sharing this with you guys and promoting all that, because uh, this stuff's incredible what he's doing. And so, without further ado, I'm just going to stop talking and get to the video because it's good.
Warriors, my friends, my extended family, welcome to one of the most important health anxiety videos that I've done in recent times. Before I get into this important video, I want to remind you that the Essential Guide to Health Anxiety, my 4th book, is coming out on Amazon in the first week of October. Pick up this transformational book. I promise it will change your life. My friends, with health anxiety, there are different stages that we go through before we can get to a place where we feel like we can finally trust again. And when I mean trust, I mean trusting in a reaction to somebody that you normally don't embody. Trusting in your body to be able to heal itself when the mind and the mental chatter gets out of the way. Trusting in a future that you don't know and the unfamiliarness of it all. We want to get to that place of trust. And the interesting thing with trust is that when you start trusting in one aspect of your life, it tends to trickle down into other aspects of your life, which is what happened to me in health anxiety. I got to a point where I wasn't being dragged around like a slave by my anxiety symptoms or the mental chatter, the catastrophic ideas that accompanied them. And isn't this the goal? The goal of becoming bored and disinterested by those same ideas, spurred on by anxiety symptoms, spurred on by tension, spurred on by core beliefs that are being held in the physical body. So my friends, when I introduce you to these stages, I want you to go, okay, I am brutally honest with myself, and yes, I am in that stage, or I'm going in and out of different stages. Let's introduce stage number 1.
Now, you notice what he said there real quick. He talked about trusting trickles down to everything else in your life. So it's very important, like you just said, to really ask yourself and be honest with yourself about where you are, because where you are, being honest with yourself, that's where you need to start. Now, trust and let go. And what I mean by that is, okay, let's say you're going to be in stage 1, which he's about to explain. Okay, that's okay. It doesn't matter where you are. Just being honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself and starting today, but also with that, have trust and faith. Because when you start to have trust and faith, you start to let go. You start to, and this is where having a higher power, like again, your faith with God, really, which is most important, your faith in God, trusting Him, letting go, have trust in your journey, have trust in who you're becoming. You have to let go. This is so key. This is something I've had to grow in more and more in my life, especially recently, letting go of things and waiting and being patient and yeah, I mean, just it's incredible when you trust, like you said, how it just trickles down to everything else in your life, and it actually decreases your stress and just how much more free you feel. So I want to stop there before you get going because I feel like that's a key point and really being honest with yourself and where you are. But when you understand where you are, have a plan and trust and have faith. That's kind of I want to point out there real quick.
One, okay, and this is a very, very familiar stage to me about 10 years ago in my life. Let's see if you can relate. We're talking about the frantic stage. In the frantic stage, which is stage one, we are basically obsessed with our physical symptoms. The body is everything, and there is a tremendous fear of letting go, right? There's a tremendous fear of letting go. And this is not just letting go of the similar idea or perception that comes with an anxiety symptom. This means potentially letting go of a relationship. This means letting go of somebody who did you wrong back in the day. This means letting go of your past beliefs, letting go of a specific person, letting go, right? So in the frantic stage, the body is everything. And when we think about the body, we think about ill health, we think about disease, we think about catastrophe, right? This is stage one. And if you're in this stage, let me tell you something. There's no need to feel guilty that you're in this stage because we're all going through a process here of evolving back into our truth and who we truly are within this lifetime. Now, with each and every one of these stages, there's a key act that you must begin understanding and implementing with an open mind in order to get to the
I just want to stop what he said there real quick. It's so important because this used to really hold me back, and I'll just be completely honest, feeling guilty, but mine was more of feeling ashamed, feeling down. Yeah, I never realized till in the last couple months, well, really in the last, well, yeah, really in the last year, couple months, really, especially the more work I've done in my own journey, just how depressed I was in my down years when I was like 18, 17, 18 years old, even in somewhat into my 19, and then I started to do a little better from when I was 19 and 20. And then when I got to 21 years old last year in the summer, 21, I got really down again, really isolated. It was very easy for me to feel ashamed, to feel like I was far away from things, and to feel like I was, uh, you know, all the things I wanted that everybody else around me had. I feel like was important, but really, what was important was my relationship with God, my family, my close family, my friends, and that I have it pretty good. Like what I thought I had bad, I really had it pretty good. And yes, there's things I desire, want, and there's things that I people have that maybe I haven't gotten to yet, but that's okay. And what I'm getting at here is in our society today, we define ourselves by labels and by what we have and by if you don't have X, Y, and Z, you're not good enough. If you don't look like X, Y, and Z, you're not good enough. If you don't talk or all these bullshit standards we have in our society today, and we buy into these labels and we think that we let them define us, and it makes us down in a hole more. And that's where I was. There was things I hadn't gotten to yet because of my where I was in my journey. I was at a time where I couldn't even leave my house for a year and a half. So there was a lot of things I didn't get to do or have, or that most people at no, you know, what most people at my age at that time had already gotten, or things that they'd achieved. But and I used to compare myself to other people too in my mind, like, man, I don't have that yet. This person, all that does is hold you down even more. And that's why I want to stop make this point. You got to let go of that. It's like I said, earlier, letting go and trust in who you are, trust in who God made you to be, and who He's molding you into, because you're unique. You're one of one. There's something special without you. It's like that's why the episode Mike and I did last week about spiritual gifts, that was one of my favorite episodes we've ever done because it's so important. But it's empowerment. That's what it's all about, self-empowerment. And there's people out there to love you. And, like for me, for instance, I'm a single person. Uh, I could easily go out and settle. You can settle for a lot of things in our society nowadays. But why settle when you can wait for what God has for you, something more that's greater you can even imagine? He's got someone out there for me that is, probably it's greater than I could even imagine. So why settle? I'd rather wait. I'd rather wait for my reward. I'd rather wait for God's will for me. Or, excuse me, I want God's will for me. So I'll wait for his timing. And so I just want to stop and sit because there's a lot of people that get down and depressed. I've been there. It's very easy to put those labels on yourself and identify yourself as something you're not, and allow those labels to define you. Those labels are BS. Those labels are junk. All that matters, as long as you're good with you and God's good with you, that's all that matters. And so, again, that takes faith and that's trust and that's letting go. But again, just imagine. And I don't really like to. I'll just put it to you like this. And this is what started to help me when I started listening to Dennis. This is self-empowering right here, what I'm about to say. And look at all the people around you. I mean, people you love. That, they have their problems. They're just getting by. Yeah, they have certain things. But imagine the road you're going down right now to help yourself, to set yourself up to be free in the future, to become the best version of yourself. Imagine where you're going to be in 5 years, and imagine where a lot of these other people are going to be in 5 years. A lot of people, the other people in 5 years, you know what they're going to be doing? The same thing they're doing right now. Where will you be? You'll be in a whole nother realm. And that's not, being like cocky or anything, but I'm trying to, it's confidence. It's don't get down where you are right now. It doesn't matter what people are doing around you, what's going on around you. Stay focused on you. It will be worth it in the end. Trust me. So just stick with it. But I want to stop make that point because that really hits home with me. And so I'm just gonna let this play. I'm not gonna stop for a little bit since I ramble here, but hope that point helped you.
Next stage. In the frantic stage, which is stage 1 of this health, anxiety, healing journey, the key is to use your imagination to see your franticness from the outside. Okay? This is the key. Okay? If you're in this stage, this is the key. Now, what do I mean? I mean closing your eyes and imagining that you're seeing your reactions from the point of view of a security camera. Okay? Imagine there's a security camera looking at you, and as that security camera is looking at you in that imagination, you're noticing how you're thinking about your anxiety symptoms. You're noticing how you're thinking about the day ahead. You're noticing how you feel so incapable of accomplishing things, how your level of self-worth is so low, right? And the lack of trust. You're noticing how tense your body is all the time. You're noticing how tense your thoughts are throughout the day. There's no flexibility with how you think about things. So in stage 1, the key to getting to stage 2 is to close your eyes and imagine that you're seeing your reactions and the whole process of health anxiety from the point of view of that security camera, my friends. This is a practice that is very, very powerful. As well, this is a practice that can be utilized after you have kind of a setback with health anxiety, right? You can also utilize this skill set at the end of the day, going back and going, well, instead of reacting that way, why don't I look to see beyond the reactions that I had that caused health anxiety? Okay. This is a skill set, and it's very, very important that we couple the right mindset with the right skill sets in order to get to the next stage in our health anxiety healing. Okay. Stage 2. Okay. Now you've evolved past the frantic stage. Okay. A lot of people are going, oh, I understand, right? So after the frantic stage, we go to stage 2, which is the exploration stage. Ooh, exploration. I like that, right? In the exploration stage, there's an introduction to new perceptions. So you are just kind of dabbling with new ways of perceiving things inside and out. You are starting to understand where your root causes lie when it comes to your anxiety in general, right? In the exploration stage, you're starting to dabble with and get your feet wet with new actions. Maybe there were things that you were distracting from, you were running from. Now you're starting to face certain things. You're starting to expose yourself differently. You're starting to step out of your comfort zones in the exploration stage. And in this stage, it's very important that you do not lose faith in the direction that you're headed, meaning you're very sensitive at this stage, okay? In stage 2, you're very sensitive because you're taking on new things. There's a lot going on here below the surface. Let me tell you that much, okay? Your body will do everything in its power to bring you back to the frantic stage where it is most comfortable because you have been addicted to suffering for so many years. But it's very, very important to keep your faith even in the face of setbacks, okay?
And this is why I said earlier in my beginning, in my intro, excuse me, steps 2 to 3 are going to be the most key. Because, like you said there, remember I said earlier about faith, trust, letting go. But again, you're not distracting yourself anymore. This is a good thing because I love that point he made there about no more distracting. Because a lot of people that I see nowadays, that'll ask me about, hey, how did this help you? They'll ask you a question about anxiety. What did you do? X, Y, and Z. And I always tell them, this is why I said earlier, you're being honest with yourself. You can't run from these feelings and try to, tucker things down inside of you for so long. Because the longer you suppress it and put it away, the bigger it gets. And the longer you wait, you're just holding yourself back. You're selling yourself short. And but again, with knowing that, like you said there, it's a very sensitive state as well. And because you're going out of those old habits, things that you've always deemed as normal, which really weren't normal. Like for me, like Dr. Google. You know what I mean? If I get a symptom or something, like what do? I go on Dr. Google, punch it in, and try to figure out what the symptom was. And all it was an anxiety symptom. But in my mind, I'm going on Dr. Google, and now I think I got this ailment, right? So you're letting go of those initial reactions, those automatic thinkings, those automatic thinkings, those habits you thought were normal, but they're not really they're not normal. They're not healthy for you, and they really just keep you down. They keep you in that anxious state. So you're very sensitive because you're doing new things that you're unpracticed in, right? It's like that's why it's like a conditioning thing. You're just unpracticed in these things. But the longer you do it, and he's going to explain how to go from the next stage to becoming, the more you do it, the more you show your body, your mind. That's why your mind, uh, your emotions, your spirit, and your body. Those 4 components. And out of those 4 components, your body's always the last to catch up because your physical reactions are to fight back. It's that fight or flight instinct in you. This is, hey, what are we doing here? It's like you're in that cold lake of water. What'd your body tell you to do? Get out, right? Even though you could tell yourself mentally, I want to stay in this cold lake of water, right? And your emotions are telling you we should. And you have the spirit, like your body is giving you all the symptoms to get out and telling you to get out, the warning signs. Those are just warning signals, right? And so but you have to override those and teach and talk to those, build a loving relationship with those. And so that's where just having faith and letting go, trusting the process. That's why that's so key. And so, but here, what really pay attention here. Like I said, from he's going to explain this now from 2 to 3 because this is very, very crucial.
And when I mean setback, something that didn't go your way, right? And as we move up these stages, what you're going to find is that when something doesn't go your way, there's a blessing within that, right? There's a teaching lesson within it. So as we move up the stages of health anxiety, we realize that there is no such thing as good or bad, right? Even people that did you wrong, criticize you, narcissists, whatever it may be that makes you feel like there's a setback. These people are bringing out within you what still needs to be healed. That's why they are not bad people. They are gifts from God. Can you imagine? Can you imagine seeing things from this angle? You don't have to right now. You just have to be open to it. Now, in the exploration stage, stage number 2, what's the key to getting to the next stage? The key is to connect long-term pain to living in this anxious state. That's the key to getting to the next stage, okay? As long as you associate pain to going back to that frantic place that you were once in, okay, you will stay on that path and building your trust in yourself and the world. So connect pain. If I go back to that frantic stage, what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen? How's my life going to look? You know, how's my family relationships going to look, right? How's this going to look? How's that going to look? How's my health going to look? How am I going to be depleted physically? You know, how am I going to suffer in my career? Attach a lot of pain to going backwards, and I promise you will go forwards, my friends.
Man, that was such a big point there. I just had to stop real quick because that is incredible what he just said, and this is why I see a lot of people, like I said earlier, about people try to distract themselves and they try to lie to themselves. Basically, you're gonna keep going back to those same things. You know, you got to ask yourself, do I really? Yep, it's like you said. Have you been through enough pain in what you've been doing? That's what I meant to say. Excuse me. Have you associated enough pain and what you've gone through, what you've been doing, that's made you down. It's led you to where you are in terms of your anxiety and your depression, your pain you're going through. Is there enough pain there to take the leap of faith to try something else? And that's something I had to ask myself. I got to a point where I hit rock bottom. I said, you know what? What I'm doing is not working, and therefore I need to have faith and trust in something else and what I need to do. And deep down inside, I knew what I needed to do. I knew I needed to confront things that I was holding off. But the longer I held them off, and every time I got, I'd do a little well, I would do, good for a little bit, but then I'd always hit rock bottom again. I'd hit that brick wall, and I would get more down and more depressed. And so you got to ask yourself, is there, it could be relationships, you keep going back to that same relationship, whatever it is, people, job, whatever it is, same habit. All right, we see this a lot with habits, people, and relationships. Let's see, those are like the two biggest I see: relationships and habits that aren't healthy for you. And we try to force things and make it work because maybe people around us are telling us, hey, you need to do this now. You need to get married. Like, for instance, relationship with a dating relationship. I see this a lot too. People around them will pressure them. Why aren't you married yet? What are you doing? Everybody else is. Everybody else is doing X, Y, and Z. Why aren't you the blah, 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 and all that stuff? You got to block that stuff out, and you got to stick with your plan and what you know is true and what you believe is true, how God's speaking to you. And so, and what he's telling you. Again, that's where the faith. And it just takes a little faith and a little wait, a little patience, a little waiting. I know it's hard. Trust me, I'm going through it right now. The wait, the waiting game, the patience. But just remember that end goal. It'll all be worth it in the end. And don't just settle and keep yourself in that painful state, that cycle, that hamster wheel. It takes a little something different just to step out and have some patience and waiting. You'll be surprised. It'll be greater than you can imagine. And God will always show you how much greater his plan was than we could even imagine. He'll do incredible things in your life. And so you just gotta be patient.
As I realize, wow, got something under my eye there. Now we are evolving, right? We are evolving. We're leaving the exploration stage and we are moving towards the becoming stage, stage number 3. Oh, I love this stage. In the becoming stage, there is a process and implementation of mindsets and skill sets forming habits that bring us out of the ego and into the higher self. So as you're becoming, now those things that you used to get your feet wet with are turning into habits. You're no longer going, oh, I'm going to reframe something from my past in order to bring resolve, change in perception, and really resolve the feelings in my body, right? I'm no longer doing that in order to get a result. That's kind of a way of life for me, right? Or I'm doing a meditation. I'm implementing meditation in my life each and every day, right? And I'm no longer doing meditation for a specific purpose. Meditation is its own purpose, right? And when you start to understand this, the real clarity, the real wisdom starts to come to you. So these things that you used to look at as, oh, I have to do that to heal my health anxiety, now what you're starting to do is those are lifestyle habits. And when you were led by the ego, you used to look at these changes and go, that's something I want to do to heal something within me. But now, because you are evolving, you are no longer that same I, right? You are evolving into your higher self, which says that what I'm doing is a part of who I truly am. Notice the difference. Because you can't heal health anxiety or any kind of anxiety for that matter through the same I that brought you into that anxious state in the first place. That's a more than anxiety moment that you must understand. If you start to feel like your changes that you're making in your life are in line with how the old I would do things, when you get that sense, you're just going to be running on a hamster wheel, right? It's this idea of seeing the process of healing from a different perspective, a perspective that you are just starting to get to know better, my friends, okay? So
And this is the difference between coping and healing. You can cope. And there's times maybe you're in the middle of a panic attack, just you have an anxious moment, you need your tools. I refer to them more as tools to help you get through that moment. It's just a moment though. But that's not your lifestyle. You don't that's why I always say don't just try to get by and manage every day. Allow yourself to be free. And that's what he's saying there. And don't because what that mindset is well, I'm gonna do these things to help me get to there and then I won't use them anymore. No. And this is why people always revert back to or excuse me, this is why people always have constant setbacks. And this is where I was for a while. I would do things that would help me get a little better. I'm like, okay, I'm good now, and then I keep going, and then wham, another something hits me, and I just go back down. And the more you do that, it's draining. Number one, but number two, you start to your confidence, your certainty just goes down, and you just put yourself in a deeper hole. And then what happens is your faith goes low too, because you're like, why isn't this stuff working? And you start questioning yourself. You start questioning everything around you in a negative way. You start doubting things. Really, what I mean to say, you start doubting everything and people around you. When really, you have to. It's all in your mindset, how you approach it, right? This is a lifestyle change. There's so many things that I've gone through just in the last year in my journey, how where I've grown. These are things that have molded me into the person I'm going to be from here on the rest of my life. You know, it brought me this podcast to do this show. This is something I do now. This is just something I did. It's something I do. And this is something I'll continue to do. And so and again, this book that he wrote, to F Cope and Start Healing. Says it all right there. It's all about a mindset and your approach going into it. It starts here. You have to have the right mindset, what comes with faith and trusting and letting go. And if you have some down, you're going to have some good days. You'll have some bad days. But I look at it, it's just a day. It's wins and lessons. Each day has a win, and each day might have a lesson. And you just keep going every day. Just keep going, keep going. You got to get up, and keep going. Don't quit. Don't give up. And this is where, it's very key what you're putting in your head, what you're seeing, what you're listening to constantly. This is something I've had to really change a year ago. I spend so much more time now in scripture, so much more time with the Lord, so much more time listening to sermons, so much more time listening to his videos, and just good music, like, positive music or soothing music, and just give more time back to help myself, give myself those kind of mini vacations during the day or just throughout the week. Just being more gentle with myself and allowing myself to just be and just relax and being calm and let it go. And just slowing everything down around you. And if you need to start help with that today, something that helped me that I learned from him, Dennis, years ago, is take your pen and write on your hand. Right, I used to write right here, right between my thumb and my index finger. Just write the letter S. And what the letter S means is, as you're going through your day, you look at that. S means for slow. Slow down. Take a deep breath. Right. This is a good tool I use. That like I said, I learned from him years ago on one of his shows I heard. But the more you do that and you apply that, the more you go through your day, it's a lot easier for you to think and rationalize things, and you're not acting out in those old bad habits. It's like you said, you're doing those new habits and your true self, your authentic self, who you want to become, right? And you're reacting more, responding more. Not reacting, responding more, because words are important to me. I think it's very key what words you use because it's important. There's a difference between reacting and responding. Reacting would be reacting out of emotions. Your emotions could be high. How do you respond? You respond more too, just through your faith when you slow down and you start to. It helped me turn to God more first, rather than trying to do it on my own. And that's been the biggest thing for me. And so I just want to stop make that point there. But back to the video.
In the becoming stage, you are literally becoming somebody different, someone who views people, life, death, everything differently. Embrace it. Now, what's the key to getting to the next stage? The key is to separate an inner child-led idea from your higher self. Now, when I say inner child, along with me speaking about this in my upcoming book, The Essential Guide to Health Anxiety, I am talking about the ego. The inner child and ego for me go hand in hand, okay? Now, as you're going through the day, you're going, oh, this is an idea or this is a feeling in my body that's coming from the inner child. This is an idea or a feeling in my body, a perception or whatever it is, an emotion, right? An action, an unconscious action. This is coming from here, right? The old I. But then there's the other side, right? On the other side, there's the higher self, the place where you're starting to evolve, past health anxiety and into somebody new, right? And on this other side, you're going to find that something starts to happen that's very, very interesting. This is so, so interesting, not only with health anxiety, but all sorts of other types of anxieties. When you start to listen to your higher self, you have trust in your ability to leave things alone, to leave them as they may. That's powerful. You have a symptom. Once you get to that stage 3, stage 4, you feel like you can trust in leaving the symptom alone. There doesn't need to be some kind of frantic looking around for an answer. I don't go to an audio. I don't go to a video. I don't go to somebody else to try to find out whether I'm safe or not anymore. Powerful place to be, right? You have so much faith in the path that you're on, and you have so much faith in the relationship that you're building with the new you, that you say, I can leave a symptom alone. And if you get a catastrophic idea, you go, oh, that's from the inner child. That's from the ego. That's not from my higher self. And because it's from here, I recognize it. I no longer fall for the trap, because it is a trap. It's always a trap. And God is always, always, always testing you. And your interpretation is whatever it is, whatever speaks to you. But understand that as you go through the day, to get from stage 3 to stage 4, pay attention to which thoughts remind you of your past, which thoughts remind you of your future. And if it feels unfamiliar, and if there's a sense of uncertainty there, follow it. Okay, follow it. Now we arrive. Oh my God, stage 4, right, in the health anxiety healing journey is the arrival stage, the arrival stage. So many of you are starting to tap into this. I feel it. I love it, right? In the arrival stage, there is a wholehearted arrival into a new identity and all that comes with it. A feeling of living through an afterlife. You start to go back and look at the last 50 years, 60 years, 30 years, whatever it is, and you go, oh my God, that's one life. And this is another life. I really sense that, right? So you start to feel like when you're in the arrival stage, you feel like what you're living out right now is the afterlife, okay? You're seeing through childhood and present fear-centered beliefs and systems, okay? So again, anything that reminds you of the past ways of behaving, past ways of perceiving, past ways of getting emotional about things, past ways of reacting to people's criticisms, whatever it is, right? You're starting to recognize that those are part of your past life, not the afterlife, your past life, right? Now, in the arrival stage, everything starts to feel different. Everything starts to feel different. What's going to happen here is that when you're around other people, when you're around society, you're going to feel like you're alone, right? You're going to feel like you're detached from people, and that's a good thing, okay? As people are fighting to make more money, trying to get a bigger house, all these materialistic things, what you're doing is focusing on your own inner healing journey to truly find yourself once again, right?
Remember what I said earlier when I said, well, those years I was down in the dump and I would compare myself to people and the labels and all that stuff. It's exactly what I was talking about, is what he just said. I love what he said there. You might feel lonely, or people might start to act different around you. People may start to think you're changing or weird. Like you said, though, that's a good thing, because you're doing something good for yourself. You're doing something that a lot of people don't have the faith in, that they won't take the chance to do it, or they don't stick with it. And it's unfortunate, but maybe you're the one that's going to show them the way. Hopefully, that'll get them to change. I've had that happen in my life, where I started changing my life and things started happening to me. Then people around me saw it and they started to say, you know what? I'm going to finally let go of these things in my past and these old habits. So trust and have faith in where God is taking. God might be using you as well to affect the people around you, people you don't even know. Um, for instance, my parents ran into someone recently that I haven't seen in years, um, but they shared with that person, or excuse me, that person shared with them how the stuff I share, what I've been saying, how it's helped them tremendously, and some of the things going on in their life right now. And I've had some other people say this to me, and I don't view it as for me. I feel it's God working through me, just because I have people too that, like Dennis, that affected me, and so really all I'm doing is just what we're supposed to do. I think you should. Everybody has a testimony. Share your testimony. That's why I say share it. But also, I think the greatest work you can do, and really why we're here, our purpose. If everybody has a testimony, everybody shares their testimony, everybody helps and tries to get back. Excuse me, helps and tries to get back. The greatest thing to do is inspire. I think one of the biggest works, inspiring, inspiration, and passing inspiration down to the next wave, and they pass down the next wave, and it keeps going. And it's like I talk about in my life, what I've experienced with generational anxiety, those bad habits that were passed down through my family, and they got to me. Not stop with me, thank gosh, but uh, again, we can reverse that and pass down different things, not just to your family, but to everybody around you. What you do, if you have a belief, you have a dream, you have a goal, you have a vision, like I have with this show, do it. Don't put it off. And I was putting it off for a while, and I knew God was telling me to do it. So God had to move me to do it, and He moved me to do it. And here I am. It'll be 6 months in a couple weeks, I think. Next week will be 6 months since I've been doing this. So half a year. It's been an amazing 6 months. So, and it's been a lot of. I'm still going through my own journey. I still have goals and things I'm trying to grow through, my own struggles and things. But it's been it's more than I could imagine, and the response I've got from people like that person and many other people, it's awesome, and it really lights a fire more in me to keep going, and it gets me excited. Now again, I have to stay patient at times, but it gets me excited for what the future holds for me, where God's taking me. But again, just stay focused on you and trusting where you're going, trusting the plan and your journey, and you'll be amazed at where you'll end up. Because I accidentally clicked the wrong button. Let's get Dennis back on the screen, not me. You guys heard enough of me talking for the last couple minutes. There we go.
Right? There's a big difference between you and society now. That sort of detachment needs to be embraced, okay? Because at this point, there is no more fear when it comes to health anxiety, right? You believe that looking at a picture, for example, of some kind of a sage or a guru can allow you to pull in the energy from that picture to heal your body, right? I have seen miraculous healings go on consistently in my life. Of course, you won't hear them on social media or the mainstream media, but it's important to stay open-minded to the possibility of these types of healing journeys. Okay, so in the arrival stage, everything starts to feel different. Okay, now, in order to go even higher than the arrival stage, right? Health anxiety at this point is something in the past, right? In order to go even farther and beyond the arrival stage, you must live out this feeling and this new you in all you do, right? I'm talking about you're walking into a cafe, you're true to yourself, right? You get up in the morning, you're true to yourself. You never, ever allow yourself to slip anymore. And that takes a high level of awareness, a high level of mindfulness, okay? But let me tell you something, it gets easier and easier and easier. And as time goes on, you'll have to put in less and less effort because it's becoming your new default mode, okay? So my friends, these are the 4 stages of healing health anxiety. Comment below and let me know what stage you're in right now, number 1. And number 2, tell me what the biggest epiphany, moment of clarity was for you from this video, because it's very, very important that we pay attention to these moments of clarity and these epiphanies, because the more time and energy and focus we spend on them, the quicker we're going to get to the arrival stage and beyond. I promise you, so many people in the world have gone through health anxiety and healed health anxiety. So if you're in stage 1 or stage 2, do not fret. Stay on this path. I promise you, you will be met with the right clarities and right piece of information and the right people that come into your life. Have faith, keep moving forward, and keep working on your transformation from a place of non-doership. And when I mean non-doership, I'm talking about not forcing it. I'm talking about taking the pressure off of this healing journey. I'm talking about not relying on other people. I'm talking about not fighting for the result, right? Do this journey in a non-doership manner and familiarize yourself with that place. And I promise you, you are getting there, okay? Have a wonderful day. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And remember, the Essential Guide to Health Anxiety is coming out on Amazon first week of October. Pick up this transformational book. and I know it'll make a difference. Remember that you are more than anxiety. Don't ever forget it. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you are more than anxiety. And incredible video. That's why I wanted to share that with you guys today. I really hope you guys wrote things down. And really, just like you said, there clarity, any clarity you gain from that. Go over to his video, leave comments in the video, in his video, like you said, I'll link the video below. And if anything I said or on this topic, leave it in the comment below. Feel free to hit me up on. You can find me online. You can message Dennis online. Just talk to somebody. Just start allowing yourself to express and to be honest with yourself. Like I said, and connect with people. And I've had, trust me, even I remember the first time I messaged Dennis and just messaged other people, started telling people where I am, especially in the last year doing this show. When I first started doing this, it's uncomfortable. It was different telling people, telling everybody, where I am, what I'm going through, and just very personal things, right? I get it's not easy at first. It's different. But you'd be amazed when you let yourself go, put yourself out there like that, and connect people. That a lot of times people that you least expect or didn't really think, they're the ones that connect with you the most, and they actually help you. They give you great points and great advice, and really, I've had people in my life like Dennis. I reached out to him and I just told him where I was at that time. It was different, but it was the best that I ever one of the best things I ever did because it led to one thing to the next. It's a chain reaction to where I am now. And so, but again, it's just I love what he said there at the end about trusting, and if, like for me, I trust in God and the things He's bringing into my life. If He brings new people into my life, no matter where I am right now, if He brings someone into my life or whatever, or takes me to different avenues, I have to trust in Him and let go. And I have faith in where He's taking me. Yeah, it might feel different and uncomfortable at first, but that's okay. I don't view that as a bad thing anymore. I feel it's a good thing because I'm heading in the right direction. I'm heading towards who I want to be. I'm heading towards freedom, right? And so, uh, yeah, I mean that's what my mindset's different right now. And I love what he said at the end about non-doership, and I've explained that on the show many times. Just non-doership, not trying to force things, not trying to force an end result the way we want it, not when we want it, and that's very key. I've experienced that in my own life, especially recently. You know, I've done some new things. Uh, just leave it at that. I've done some new things, and you may not get uh, you may not get what you want when you want it, but if you trust in God, you feel like God's talking to you, which that's something I've gone through, and you feel like God is telling you to just wait, which again, this is something I've gone through recently. If you trust God, you put your faith in God, you just allow, and you trust that He allows things and brings things in your life for a reason, and you trust His timing. We may not get what we want right then and right now, but if you're willing to wait and be patient, uh, it'll be greater than we could even imagine. And I've already experienced that in my life, and I'm still experiencing things like that now. And that's part of life. His timing a lot of times is different than ours because He knows what's best for us. Sometimes we don't need what we want at that time wasn't the best thing for us at that time. Doesn't mean we won't get it. Just at that time, it wasn't the right time. And so, and you never know what God's doing behind the scenes. You never know what He's doing. And so, again, that's where faith, trusting, letting go, and just allowing, and just allow yourself to be. You know what I mean? Each day is just a blessing. Each day really is. It's a blessing. And I'm like for me, I still have a long way to go, or not a long way to go. I still have things I want to achieve. I still have things I'm growing out of, right, in my own personal life. But man, I look back at all the wins I've had recently. I look back at where I used to be, and I'm pretty content with where I am now. You know, I'm happy. I'm content where I am right now in my own life because thank gosh I'm not where I used to be a year ago. I can tell you that much. A little over a year ago, I was scattered. Uh, I just was not in a good place at all. My confidence was low. Didn't have a lot of faith and hope. Didn't know what was going on. Didn't know what my future held. Just a lot of uncertainty. But a year later, through all that, he brought me out of that. Uh, Now I'm much more at ease and content where I am, and I have much more honesty and openness with people around me, people close to me. You know, everything's just better, just completely better. But again, it took me taking the leap of faith and letting go, and allowing God to take me to wherever avenues, whether it was like with this show or reconnecting people, connecting with new people, doing new things. I mean, you know, just allowing myself to just go and allowing yourself to just be and live, and having that faith. And obviously, it's something I'm still working on and growing in. But like I said, it's just in a year where I am, when I look at it like that, you know, like my mindset, how I view it, where I am. If I view it my too much on the future, if too much on the past, I'm not going to be in the present. And so it's very key to stay present, stay mindful, and stay, you know, like he said, have at the end there. Doesn't matter if you're in stage 1 or 2. What he explained, the frantic state, excuse me, or the exploration state. Don't fret about it. Just trust in what you're doing. Stay present each step, step by step, each and every day. And you know, the last thing I'll leave you guys with is something I've thought about. And I heard Kobe Bryant say this one time. And I love Kobe Bryant because not only he was an incredible basketball player, but when he passed, you know, because growing up, Kobe was on the West Coast and I was younger. So I really didn't watch Kobe a lot growing up. I wasn't like this Kobe Bryant fan. But then when he passed, and I started to read about him more, because when he passed, there's all these things coming out about him, all the great things. And when I started watching and listening to his podcast that he did, his interviews and things of that nature in his latter years before he passed, after he retired, even during his years, I was just like, man, I don't think I've ever heard an athlete. Not saying there isn't one, but it's very rare I've heard an athlete that was that in tune, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. It just he was so in tune and just how he approached things. It was different, and that's why he was different on the court, and that's what separated him. And he really set a standard too in the league of how to be excellent in that field. And really, he set a standard all across the board in a lot of things. And so that's why I gravitate to him now. And he's become really my I can't if I could talk, stuttering there. Uh, he's really become one of my all-time favorite athletes, and not just for what he did on the court, really just because we did it off the court and what he represented and what he shared, his knowledge. And so, you know, for me, it was incredible to hear him say all these things. But one of the most important things I ever heard him say was, like I said, it's the last thing I'll leave you with. You know, he said one time, really have, I'm kind of paraphrasing a little bit because I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what he said. But basically, what he said was, you know, enjoy the journey, enjoy the process, enjoy the work, enjoy that grind, per se. And like like Dennis said there, Dan, no matter where you are, having that trust and that faith, have fun in that process too. Like, and make fun in those, have fun times in that process. Have times where you just enjoy it because you know where you're heading. You focus on you know where you're heading in the end goal. But you love those day to day wins, even if they're small wins. You celebrate those wins, and you just love where you're going, and you start to enjoy the process. That's the key for me, and that's the key I've that or excuse me, that's the key to me is enjoying the process. And that's what I want to share with you guys when I leave with you guys today is that really getting a mindset and have that focus where you know your end goal, where you're heading. You have faith and you trust that you will get there. and you are heading there. You're becoming that person, right? But also enjoy the process. You really fall in love with the process, and just when the more you start to do that, and you start doing those new habits like you talked about, then you start to realize why you're be. It's that's where the new lifestyle starts to come in, and you start to shape that mindset. And you start to say, you know what, this is really who I am. This is who I want to be, not just for now to help me now. This is my lifestyle. This is who I want to be. This is my true self, right? And that's where those spiritual gifts start to come out, like Mike and I talked about. When you start to connect it, when you start tapping into those spiritual gifts from God, a lot of times you start to tap into your calling, and you start to tap into all the miracles, all the blessings God has for you, right? But it just takes that patience. I know it could be hard. I'm going again. That's we all go through it. Trust me, but enjoy the process. And you're never as far away as you think. It can happen for you just like that at any moment, at any time. What you've been waiting for, like for me, what I'm thinking, can happen at any moment, at any time. Just keep doing you every day. Trust the process, and it'll all be worth it in the end. I promise you that. Woo, man, that was a good episode today that was a good episode by Dennis. But there was just a lot here today. Like I said, I hope you guys took something from this, because there was just a lot of powerful tips in this. And leave a comment below if you have any questions about anything. Feel free to hit me up. You can contact Dennis over on Instagram, or he has go over to his channel. You can find all his links and stuff. Subscribe to his channel. Go like that video. I'll link it below again if you want to rewatch it. And yeah, I don't know, a lot of great stuff today, guys. And I'll leave you guys at that. And like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Go Browns tonight. I'm out of here. Gone.